nice enough tonight to put on a webinar based on our morning shows that he does with us on volume profile indicator, which a lot of the chameleons have asked about. So Donald is on tonight to talk about how he uses this indicator and makes money doing it, is what I'm assuming. He also has a website he started, and he's an entrepreneur with many passions and many past business successes. So he'll talk a little bit about that. Before we get started, let's go over the disclaimer. Neither Donald, myself, Mark Chameleon, no one is a registered investment advisor. Everything we are telling you is for educational purposes only. If you need help making trading decisions, I would speak to a registered broker dealer. And with that, let's welcome Donald Williams. Donald, you there? You coming on, my friend? There he is, all the way from California. The one, the only Donald.
What's up, big man? How you doing?
Donald, thanks for joining, buddy.
Of course.
Why don't you tell everyone before we get started? We have people coming in on YouTube and Zoom. For those on YouTube, I put a link so you can come over and ask your questions live if you want. We can let you get on with your mic and ask your questions of Donald live, or type them in. But live questions always make for a more interesting answer. So with that, Don, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, let's do it. So, for those that haven't seen me with Market Chameleon yet, I'm just a regular guy. I never traded on Wall Street. I don't have a background with any banks. My dad was an accountant, so he taught me a little bit about trading. Bought my first stock when I was 8 years old. Gave it to me. It was a sheet of paper, so I did have some background in, understanding what the stock market is, but I'm just a normal guy. I'm like you, or the normal person. And what I did was I started my own businesses, Subway, Sport Clips, some other lesser known franchises. And just like in trading, some worked and some didn't, but the majority worked, and I was able to make money doing it. And I ended up selling all those, moving out to Los Angeles, and my wife's family out here. Now we live in sunny LA, and we love it. But I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. It's like I got kids, I can spend time with my kids, but when they're at school, what am I going to do? So I actually turned to trading, and it took me a couple years and a couple accounts. I think we've all been there, right? Blew up some accounts, but I was able to become what I call a CPT, which is a consistently profitable trader. And it was a long journey. And what I'm about to show you tonight, no one showed me. I taught myself, and I still to this day do not understand why it's not the most talked about thing on Wall Street. So
awesome.
Do you want me to get started? You want me to wait? What would you like me to do?
Everyone can hear you. All the sound is good. People are chatting. So again, right. just so you know, you can ask your question live if you're on the Zoom. There's a link in the YouTube chat where you can also click over to the Zoom if you want to ask your question live. There's a delay between the two. Donald, I forget how exactly do you like the questions as we're going? Do you want to wait to the end? How do you want your questions?
I'm fine with as we're going, right? So because everybody misspeaks, maybe I say something wrong and they need to chime in and be like, hey, what do you mean? So yeah, as we're going, if you see questions, go ahead and let me know. Is it okay if I grab the screen share?
Yeah, share your screen and let's get rolling.
All right.
Screen looks good, my friend.
Looks good?
Yep.
All right, let's get this. Here we are. Okay, so first question for you guys. How many of you in here, put it like a 2 in chat, if you use volume profile?
So we have, now there's a little bit of delay between Zoom and YouTube. We have 4 people saying yes.
All right.
Of the 30 some odd people we have on the Zoom right now saying yes, they use it. 5, 6.
Okay.
So we have a bunch of people using it.
So I've got the chat pulled up on Zoom, so I can kind of see that out of the corner of my eye here. Okay. So so we've got some people familiar with it. So I just want to run through the basics of it. And then I want to kind of try to get into the meat and potatoes of it, because honestly, it's an art. And the people that do use it, often don't use it correctly. Or I wouldn't say correctly, I would say to its fullest potential. So with that, let's jump into it. This is by far my favorite indicator. And if someone were to ask me, hey, is there anything that you use that is like the most important thing to learn? It's this. By far, it's this. You guys know what I do with Market Chameleon. I do earnings plays with Market Chameleon. I use.
Hey, Donald. Don, you've muted yourself. Sorry about that. You're back.
All right. Am I back?
Yeah.
Okay. So no matter what I use on Market Chameleon, if it's unusual options, earnings, catalyst plays, doesn't matter. I always use volume profile. And this is my biggest edge. All right. Let's jump to it. So what we're going to cover real quick is what is volume profile, how to set it up, common terms, and some examples of using VP. And then because I taught myself, I don't use all the normal terms that I guess you could say the more properly educated people use, so we'll run through that. Now, Will, can you see writing on the screen if I draw like circles? Can you see me writing?
Yep. No, it looks good.
Okay, perfect.
You draw a nice circle. It's yellow.
All right, so let's get to it. So what is volume profile? Right here's the definition. Volume profile is an advanced charting study that displays trading activity over a specific time period at specific price levels. The study, accounting for user-defined parameters such as number of rows and time period, plots a histogram on the chart meant to reveal dominant and or significant price levels based on volume. Essentially, volume profile takes the total volume traded at a specific price level during a specific time period and divides the total volume into either buy volume or sell volume, and then makes that information easily visible to the trader. All right, so nice, big, clunky definition, right? And if I were to just read that and I never heard of volume profile, I'd be like, well, what the heck are you talking about, right? It's very complicated. So to me, the way that I view volume profile is I'm playing other people. So we get on a chart. Let me pull up just a chart right here. And this is in video, right? They just had earnings. And I was using Market Chameleon data combined with VP to figure out where I would want to get in if it dipped. And so what I'm looking at are the bars over here, right? To try to figure that out. So volume comes in down here, but this is also called volume at price. So between these two price levels, this is how much volume was traded, okay? So again, all I am doing is playing other people. One of the things that you can always count on in the world is how the majority of humans are going to act in any given situation. It's good and it's bad, right? So that's what you want to do is you want to play other people. And there's a great book about it. I forgot who wrote it, but it's called Trading the Trader. And what you do with that is you're going with human psychology, okay? Let me ask you a question. How many people have bought into a stock and thought, this is the greatest purchase ever, I'm going to make all kinds of money? And then within a day or two, you're underwater and you're like, oh my gosh, they're going to raise rates. We're going to have to attack Russia because they're going to invade Ukraine. Oh my goodness. I just want to get out of this. Just can I get out of this break even? Please come back to my entry price and I'll get out, right? That's just human psychology. That's what we do. Right, Lakshmi, always, right? Jamie asks, is it just me or is the sharing screen does not appear?
Looks good to me.
Looks good? Okay, great.
Right now you have what is volume profile, definition, understanding, VP.
Yep, that's it. So this was just from a watch list. I put out a watch list every week. And this was a while ago. And I said, this is what I'm looking for on AMD, right? Because it was coming into this level where I have the arrow. So type in chat if you know what this is called according to volume profile. What is this area called according to volume profile? Does anybody know? Type it in chat if you know what it is. Lakshmi says point of control. Anybody else? What is this area where this line is? So what I'll do is, I'm not going to tell you the answer just yet. We're going to go through the video, go through the presentation. Support, Jamie says support. Nate Gorman says value area low. All right, I'll tell you, somebody's right, and we'll figure out who that is. Now, one of the reasons that we use technical analysis is we see the same chart patterns over time. You know, you've got your head and shoulders, you've got your inverse head and shoulders, you've got your double bottom, double tops. You know what I mean? All the ascending triangles, one of my favorites, trip top breakouts. We see this over time. What is that? Why do we always see those patterns? Does anybody know? Why is it the same patterns play out from 100 years ago till now? Well, it all has to do with human psychology. And these patterns are made based off of volume profile because most humans behave the same. So if you can figure out where the patterns are going to start and how they should shape out, what I call drawing the right side of the chart, that's what allows you to see when you should buy and when you should sell. All right, let's jump through it. And again, this works on all time frames. I don't care if you're using a monthly. I don't care if you're using a weekly. I don't care if you're using a minute. It works on all of them. And if you don't know how to put it on, just let me know. I'll help you figure out how to put it on your chart. I use TC2000. It's just called volume at price. I just type it in and it adds it in right here. And then I also use E-Trade, and it's just under studies, volume profile. So if you don't know how to put that in your chart, just let me know and we'll figure that out. And what ends up happening is your chart's going to look something like these guys, right? You can see over here on TC2000 how you've got red and green. That's the buy and sell volume. I honestly don't care about that. Whether it's red or green, it doesn't matter to me. You notice E-Trade doesn't have it. It's just all one color. So for me, I could care less if it's red and green. It really doesn't matter. All right, so these are the common terms, the correct terms that you use when you're talking about volume profile. There's something called the value area. And so what it does on most brokers is it takes a range of 70% of the price action, and it'll select 70% of the price action, and it'll say, this is your value area. Right? So this is the range of price. Sure, there may be a little bit down here and a little bit up here, but you can see this blue, right? That's the value area. Now, you've got what's called a high volume node, HVN, and this is areas of just high volume, longer bars, okay? You've got low volume nodes, area of low volume, shorter bars. You got the POC, which is what Lakshmi said was point of control. It's your highest volume node. You've got your value area high. It's the highest price level in the value area. You've got your value area low, lowest price level in the value area. And then you've got gaps, the space in between the HVNs, right? And LVNs, right? So you can see this particular blue area, according to the correct way to classify volume profile, is actually your HVN. This is your HVN because they're not including any of this up here because it's got to be within range of price, right? For me, I don't quite use it like that, but we'll go through that in a minute as well. So again, what was the answer? Well, the answer was it's a value area low, right? Because according to this, here is your value area, and here's your point of control. This is your high value and low value, right? So that's what it was. So Nate G, you're a smart man. Now, this is showing the simple theory of what's called VPVR, right? It's volume profile, volume range. It comes down below. If it comes down below point of control, it often comes back to it. If it gets far extended above point of control, it comes back to it as well. Has anybody studied auction theory? Anybody? Put a 5 in chat if you studied auction theory. And no
auction
lies.
Theory.
No lies. I'm going to ask questions.
I'm going to put that in the YouTube poll.
Auction theory, right? What auction theory states is you're going to have people that buy high. You're going to have people that buy low. And then there's going to create a area where people say this is perceived value. How many of you guys have sold a used car? I think we've all sold used cars, right? So what do? What's the first step you do when you're going to sell a used car? Well, for me, I go to Kelley Blue Book and I'm like, what's the average price going here? You're trying to find that value area. Wash it, Susan? Yeah, exactly. Clean up my kids' junk out of it. So when you see that value area, how many of us put it at the low end, versus the high end? And maybe you're like, well, shoot, I put a special stereo in here. It needs to come up here to this level. Well, in the market, the only thing that's happening is it's a continual auction process. And so there's going to be a point of control or a value area. And sometimes you may go up, sometimes you may go down, but unless there's new news, it's going to be coming back to this value area most of the time. That's what VPVR stands for, okay? Any questions so far?
No, it's pretty smooth, Don. Thanks.
Okay, good. Now, what I've done here is this is the correct term right here versus my term. So again, I taught myself this. I didn't know what it was. I didn't look up any videos or anything. I just saw the indicator and started messing with it. So what I call a HVN, a high value node, is actually, I just call it a pivot point, right? Low value node, I call them minor pivot points, right? It's just a lower volume node. This is a pivot point, and then I'll have what's called a major pivot point. Value area high, I call this the last resistance. Value area low, I call it the last support. And the way I view it is, if we get below the last support, I don't want to be trading the stock anymore to the long side because everybody up here is trapped. And what's going to happen if we break this low and come back into this area? All these trapped traders, meaning they're underwater, they bought long here, they're going to be selling into you, providing pressure down, right? Now, the space in between, I just call it air. There's nothing there. Now, we'll give you an example of this in a minute. Point of control, I call it POC, or it's your main support and resistance. This is the spot, right? And this is where I'll say, hey, guys, this is over under. So we'll be in chat and I'll say, we're at that point. It's over under. What I do if we're underneath it, right, is I'll say, I'm selling into this level. I may keep like 10% of my position to see if we push through, but I've sold most of my position into that. Once we break over it, that allows me to buy it back on a retest. Now, something I often say is, hey, we need to chew or shuffle. And what this means is we may have a long VP bar here, and then a shorter one here, and a shorter one here, and maybe we're coming back up into this area. Well, basically what it means is we don't have the amount of people to chew through all of these guys. So let's just pretend there was 1 million shares traded in this range, and there's 200 here, and there's 100 here. Well, you're going to have 1 million people that are trapped dumping into these guys, right? And you really need to chew through to allow the owners of the shares up in this spot to trade with the owners down in the new area that was created, right? And then once you chew through, that allows you to push through. So that's getting legs, chewing through, shuffling. Retest is anything that comes back and tests one of your levels, right? Your one of your main levels. Could you not see the drawing on there, Tony? I apologize. I'll show you on a chart. Now, under POC, you guys heard me say it already, it's trapped longs. So if you are underneath the point of control, what does that mean? If you're underneath the point of control, there's a lot of people above you that were long and are now seeing red in their account, right? If you're over the point of control, it's just the flip. All the shorts are stuck, right? So trap shorts or trap longs. Jamie, James' question for the recording is, in which time frame works better for swing trading? You know, if you're going to swing trade, everybody's different definition, has a different definition of swing trading. I'm a hyper trader. I trade probably about 500-600 times a day, right? I'm just like pushing buttons. I'm just crazy. I'm like, but when I do swing trade, my swing trades are like 3 or 4 days. Some people's swing trades are for a couple of weeks. So it really depends on how you define swing trading. But to give you kind of an overall answer to that, it really doesn't matter the time frame. It matters the people you're playing. So I'll go back and I'll show you. I'll show you exactly what I mean by that. Time frame doesn't really matter. You want to get as close as possible against the people you're playing. Okay. So keep that just in your hat, and I'll explain it. Now I have something I call an upside down L, and all that means is your VP looks like this. It's just an upside down L, right? Everybody can see the red. So, you know, it's just on this chart. Do you think the people that bought in here to go long are happy if the price is down here? The answer is no, they're trapped, right? And so what do you think is going to happen if the price were to come back up to this $18 level? Well, all these people are going to sell into you, right? So we're getting through just the basics, and we're going to be able to play some chart patterns to do it live and show you some examples, okay? So this is an example of another upside down L. Now, I want to show you the power of this, and then I'm going to show you how I did it, okay? Now, Will, can you see just messages? Can you see a new screen that has messages up here?
Yep.
All right, so this was playing AMD, okay? Me and my buddies, we were playing AMD, and everybody's giving out where they think we should long, where they think we should short. These are all my messages. You know, hey, I'm getting in for AMD for a gap fill. They're asking for targets, right? Hey, what's the target?
So, well, Donald, just for clarification, is this in the group you run that people can join, or
yes,
is this?
Yes, right. It is. It is, and this is. We have a Discord and we have an online chat.
So how do people access that if they want to?
So at the very end of the presentation, I'll put up a slide, and it'll be right here. You can just scan this. You can go to the TTU website. I think Efren's in here. If
you know what, I've got the TTU website up. I'll put that into the chat. If anyone wants to contact Donald, that's how you do it. TTU means the Trading University website, which Donald runs.
Yes. Thank you.
Perfect.
So one of the things I want you to focus on here is, let me actually, I'm going to pull up the AMD chart.
Efren actually beat me to it. Sorry about that. I doubled up there.
Oh, that's all right. Efren's on the ball. He's Canadian, though, so you have to forgive him sometimes. No, just kidding for all my Canadian friends.
We love Canadians.
Right? So the date we were playing this, I'm actually going to take these lines away because it's kind of confusing. All those lines are VP lines, and I know it's kind of like overwhelming if you see that. But this is 2/9, the date we're playing this. So you can see we actually gapped up on AMD, and I was playing a gap close and go, okay? And he asked, you know, hey, what's the overall target here? What are we looking to, you know, sell out and make money? Well, I told him 3270. It's kind of a random number, right? 3270. Why 3270? What's so important about 3270? You see it right here, 3270. And I'm telling you this at 1118. And this is what the chart looked like right here. And I'm going to bring that same chart, just a picture that I sent him. If I can find it here. This is it. This was the chart I sent him in the time frame that I sent him. So you can see my levels, and you can see over here on the left-hand side the VP. Will, can you read these numbers? Can you make that number out right here that I just circled?
It's pretty small.
Okay, so this is 132.74. That's the number. And I've got this line highlighted orange. Okay. This is a very important VP line. This red one, what that means is once we get over it, let's go, baby. It's time to add to your winner, right? But this one, it's saying, hey, we need to start selling into these guys because this is the bottom of the range above us. Now, remember what I told you about ranges. So here's a range, right? Here's a range. And so do you see the air on the VP? Do you see how there's no people here? That's the air. And what you want to do is you want to capture the air. So you can see as we start squeezing above, you can see me drawing these yellow lines, correct, guys? Yes. Okay. As we squeeze above this is what I'm trying to capture right here. I want to capture this whole move. Now, do I buy 1,000 shares right here and then sell 1,000 shares here? No, I'll buy 500, 500, 500, 500, and then sell 500, 500, 500, 500. But the ultimate target is here, 32.74. Okay. Now, what I want to do is show you what happened that day. So let me pull up the A&D chart. And this is the power, guys, of this. So I'm going to scroll it back to the 9th. So the 9th is right here in between these two yellow lines that I was just showing you, right? Guys, where's the top? Where's the top? I literally am top ticking this. Right there. That's your top. So guess what I did? Well, I came in and I said, hey, you know what? I'm selling all of them. And I'm actually going to, let's see if I can zoom in on this. I can't, I'm having trouble zooming in on this one. But what it says right here is we hit the sell point. I'm unloading next week calls, and I'm actually selling to open calls for this week at 135. Now, that's just a way I short. If you don't know how to short by selling calls, do not do it. You will blow up your account quickly, or at least have them covered with shares. So that's where I took it short. And here's the beauty. Bam, right? So this is the power of VP. Now it's important to go through and show you how I did it. Is there any questions so far?
I think we may have one person. I don't know if they raised their hand by accident. There's a hand raise. You can allow, it's Raymond. I think Raymond Huck. You can allow him to talk. You willing to take a risk with this?
Absolutely. Let's go, Raymond.
It makes good theater. So I'm going to click
right.
Raymond. You're being clicked on. Unmute yourself if you want to talk. This is Raymond. His hand was raised on the Zoom. Raymond, you there? You have to unmute, Ray, if you want to talk.
So while we wait to see if Ray's there and wants to talk, one of my favorite shows of all time is Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah, I love that show.
Anybody named Raymond, hey, let's get him on the mic.
So I think Ray's not clicking over. So I'm assuming he maybe hit that by accident. Ray, will give you a couple more seconds. All right. I don't think Ray's going to. I've asked him to unmute. Click done. All right. Anyways, Ray's gone.
Okay.
Anyone who raises their hand, you can come in live to talk. We do have something just popped into the Q&A. Oh, Ray.
Error.
Ray's let us know it was an error. Sorry, Ray.
Thanks, Raymond.
Didn't mean to put you on the spot. You could have clicked on mute and said hi, error. But anyways, thanks for trying, Ray.
Thanks, Raymond. All right, guys. So let me show you how you're supposed to do this. Now, do you remember the question, guys, about time frame? Jamie said, hey, what's the best time frame? Well, let me show you the AMD chart with all my lines. This is crazy, right? It's a little bit too much. And unless you drew these lines, you don't know what I'm doing. So I'm going to take you to a blank chart. So very simply put, just right now, let's just put on a live VP session for right now in the market on AMD. I am an AMD fanboy, if you don't know. Been holding AMD since 8 and will continue to hold. But I play the stock every day. I'm familiar with how it moves. So here we are, right here. where should we be looking for people to play against? Where is there anybody in the chart that we have pulled up right now that we would be worried about playing against, right? So how do you figure that out? Well, here's your price levels, right? You know, your general price levels are here. So all you do is just pull it back on the chart. So you've got a group of people here, you got a group of people here, and you have a group of people here. That's it. That's all that matters. It doesn't matter if you're looking at a 1 minute, 2 minute, 5 minute, you need to figure out who you're playing. Okay. Now, once we figure that out, who do you think has the most effect on us? Do you think these guys have the most effect who bought back in August of 21? Or do you think that the people that bought right here have more effect than the people that bought back here, right? It's the most recent ones. So what we're going to do is we're going to, this is a daily. This is a daily, Susan. Thank you. I should have said that. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to zoom in. That's it. We're just going to zoom in. So the first thing I want to see is, let's look, I want to break down here to here, okay? Just these people, because we're kind of in the dead center of them, and it'll let me know the easiest way. Which way is the easiest, the path of least resistance, right? Now, again, just understand news trumps everything, volume profile included. If you're up and you're sitting on a volume profile right here and you're like, all right, we got this. And then all of a sudden Russia invades, well, the market, is going to pull. Now you can use previous support levels to buy off of that. I understand, but just understand that news trumps everything. Now, what I want to do is I'm actually going to set a vertical bar right here on this. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. This is as far back as I want to go. That's it. So what is the closest I can get? And what you want to do is look on the right side of your screen for your spread. Right now, I've got a $1 spread in AMD. You want this to be as tight as possible. 1 cent. If I could wave a magic wand, it'd be 1 cent, but I can't get it that tight. So we're going to get it as tight as possible.
Hey, Don.
Yes, sir.
Susan is asking, what time frame are you looking at?
Yes, it's the daily. It's the daily.
Perfect.
So let's zoom in now. So now the time frame no longer matters, right? I just want to get as close as possible to include that white line, right? And there it is. There's your white line, right? Now, this is telling me the volume profile, okay? That's it. This is telling me the volume profile for that time period that's going to have the most impact. So now I can start coming in here and drawing lines. I can say, hey, right, here's your point of control for this range. Well, here's your point of control for this range, right? Here's your upper value area up here. Here's your upper value area here. Here's your lower value area down here, right? So this is just kind of an overview of it, right? This is what some people will do this. Most people don't even take it this far. They'll just look at the daily and put them in. But after you do this, you're not done. You still need to zoom in. And what I mean by that is, okay, if I am going to break above this level, 121.29, where's the resistances in this group? Like, where's the bulk here? I don't know, because it just all looks like a chunk. Sylvia, thank you. I actually switched to a 5 minute. And again, this is as close that I could get time-wise from on a time frame chart to zoom into these people. Does anybody have TradingView? TradingView is another great VP tool. With TradingView, what you can do on these is you can actually just select this area that you want to pick, and it'll show you a VP level right there. But with TC2000, what I have to do is move around by zooming. And so I'm going to bring over another chart here that's going to show you AMD. So what I'm doing here is if I click, this is showing you Tuesday the 15th. Can you see the shaded part on my TC2000, how it moves? Is that visible, Will? So right.
Yeah, it
so,
looks good.
So that shaded part, right? That's telling me the days. So what do I need to do? To find out the people up top, I need to go back from 210, right, to basically earnings, 22. So now I need to zoom in to those people right here. Okay. And in reality, I don't even need to include these people. Why don't I need to include these people? Can anybody tell me? Why can't I take these people out of my Zoom as well? Well, it's because it's above it, Lakshmi. It's because they're above it. Exactly. David got it. Exactly. They're above it. Once we break above this line, then I'll pay attention to those guys. Those guys are like way far, we got to dig through a whole lot of stuff before we get to those guys. So here, let's do it. Let's zoom in. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to take this same line and I'm going to put it right at ER. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to stick it right there. So this is the area I want to zoom in. Okay. I want to zoom into this area. Now I want you to pay attention to what happens to the volume at price, the volume profile. So you see how it looks right now? So if we wanted to mark this up, it would be like, you know what? I think right about here is kind of like a top maybe. And then I guess maybe here's the top. I don't know. I mean, it's all kind of jumbled together, right? You can kind of mark it up and you can kind of get ideas. Maybe here's kind of the top of that part. But let's get detailed, right? Let's get detailed. The reason I trade so much is because I buy dips and sell rips. That's how I trade. I buy support and I sell resistance. Anytime we're over support and we come into it, I'm wanting to buy it. Anytime we go into the resistance, I'm wanting to sell it. So all I'm doing now is I'm literally zooming in. You know what? I think I can get this on a 3-minute chart. And a 3-minute chart is going to get me closer. Yep. So I'm just zooming into that time frame. Remember that time frame? When I say time frame, I mean between the dates of February 2nd to the 9th. I'm not talking about a 5-minute or anything like that. All right, so now I'm zoomed in pretty good, and you can see how the spreads on the right side of my screen have shrunk down to 25 cents. So you remember I said it's at $1 right now, and I want to get it as low as possible, right? Well, I just got it to 25 cents. Now that I've zoomed into these people, what looked like the major resistance, do you remember these two bars? This is what looked like the major resistance.